Repeat the question, please.
He stated that should a member of the UNNM stand trial and present our Constitution, that we must stay within it, from the first statute to the last, so that we don't get trapped in this. But at what point, if you are innocent, which is going to trial for anyway, do you present that if they're not an Article 3 judge, they can't try you?
Let me give you some examples. That's how the system works. The first example is the way the system is set up is an illusion. That's the first thing you have to realize as a lawyer. They separate religion from the state. They tell you, quick, we separate religion from the state. Then you go into court. They tell you, put your hand on the Bible. And it says, in God we trust. Now they've already confessed to you that either you are religious or you are statesman. So if they introduce to you a Bible in court and it says in God we trust, and they make you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God, then when you're in court, are you in a part of this government that is state, or are you in a part of this government that is religious? What is that? Religious, of course, insofar as they present you with a Bible and not a Constitution. I've never been to a court in my life where they make people put their hand on the Constitution and swear by the constitutional laws to abide by the countries, though they will go into the Constitution and use amendments like the Fifth for you to entrap yourself, because if they actually plead the Fifth, which means you have the right to remain silent. Right, that they'll tell you is already a stage of admittance of guilt. You follow that? What you say, I have the right to remain silent because I don't want to incriminate myself. You just incriminated yourself. Because that's like saying, if I didn't do it, I would just say, no, I didn't do it. So if you say, did you do it? I go, your mother said, little boy, did you take the chicken out of the I had saved the dinner. You go, right? I'm going to ask you one more time. Did you take the chicken out of the prison that I had set up for dinner tonight? Shortly coming is usually a left hook, a right hook, or something. So when you step into that system, I'm going to get around to what I'm talking about too. When you step into that system, what I'm trying to open my people up to is the reality that you've been lied to from the beginning. But in order for them to have a fail-safe for themselves, they've made rules and regulations and laws. The difference between a rule is there's always the exception to the rule. But there's no one that's an exception to the law, they'll say. So now, one of the rules is that if you are mentally impaired, then you can commit murder. That's a rule. That's not a law. The law says if you commit murder and you're found guilty, you should either be given either life in prison or according to them have your life taken. That's the law. That's what you'll find in the law book, because they'll tell you under whether it's murder 1, murder 2, or murder 3, or manslaughter. They'll have a whole bunch of statutes, and they'll tell you what the minimum and the maximum is for murder. That's the law. But then the rule says that if we send you to a court-appointed psychiatrist or analyst, and he comes to the conclusion that you was abused when you was a kid, you follow? Like Tim McVeigh is trying to do now, he's abused when he's a kid, then he has mental problems, and this is why he went off and blew up the building. So far as he is not responsible or premeditating the murder, we can't kill him, that wouldn't be right. We'll put him into a mental Sheraton hotel for 10 years under therapy, and he's allowed to have visitation with his wife. They're allowed to get married if they're not married, have sexual intercourses while in jail, get leaves of absence from jail. You see what I'm saying? Now, that rule does not apply to you when you walk in court. They don't have that problem when it comes to ethnic people. They only have that problem when it comes to Jeffrey Dahmer, who admitted to his murders and still wasn't sentenced to murder. But a brother can be accused of murder, like in Philadelphia right now, and he's on death row. You follow? Because the psychiatrists say, as far as we're concerned, we don't think that he's crazy. But in the case of Jeffrey Dahmer, it said, well, as far as we're concerned, we think that he's crazy. Now, according to the Bible, God, in whom we trust, says in the commandments, thou shalt not kill. So now, I want you to look with me here. If the God of the boundless universe, the creator of flesh and mind, of thought, consequences, emotions, if that being who is responsible for the way we feel about things said, thou shalt not kill. If you go against that command, you have stepped out of the realm of sanity automatically. You follow me by that? Because if the law of nature, as we spoke of earlier, says that it's sane not to kill people, and God puts his seal of approval on that, if you step out that range, then you are automatically insane. There's no reason to call him a psychiatrist who might be insane himself, because he might have been abused when he was a kid, and one of his greatest desires might be just to say, crazy people are not crazy, and sane people are crazy. We don't know. We don't check out Sigmund Freud to find out what his child was like. But if God has confirmed that it's a sin to kill, and then what would that make every man or woman that kills? If, while in court, I put my hand on the Bible, and in the contents of the Bible that God is supposed to have revealed, it says, thou shalt not kill. You hear me? And therefore, no man that walks through court and kills, or no woman, is considered sane. You must be insane in order to kill. Because God said, do not kill. And you must be insane not to obey God who created you. You follow? But with rules, you can become an exception. Thus, Jeffrey Dahmer became an exception to the rule. But God and Mother Nature working together had him killed in jail anyway. Because God said, thou shalt be killed. You understand what I'm saying? When you come down to Moorish law, which is our law, the first thing we've got to establish with them is we do not accept your King James Version or your St. Jerome's Version or your New World Jehovah's Witness Version. We do not accept this as fact. See? And so, therefore, in court, if I'm forced to put my hand on this book and swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, I would be lying by putting my hand on it and pretending that I would be telling the truth because I believe in it. You hear? We will not be able to institute the articles of our Constitution until you fully accept yourselves as Moors. You cannot expect to go up against a system of evil, and it is evil, while you're holding the tool of evil in your hand. And I'm telling you, who don't want to make a little, God, this guy's saying the Bible is a tool of evil. I'm saying the Bible has been used as a tool of evil. They use justification laws to abuse us while they hold up the Bible. The KKK does not burn crescents, they burn crosses. For some reason, somehow, the Christian world, and I'm talking about the ethnic Christian world, has overlooked the cross on the lawn for the white hood. And they should be addressing the fact that the KKK is a Christian denomination. You with that? That should be up in front of the law instead of guys in white hoods who ride through our neighborhoods terrorizing us. We're missing the issue that how does a system allow them, and why hasn't Billy Graham, the Southern Christian leadership, the cult busters, and a million other Christian movements, why have they not come to the far front to present to the world the inconsistency of you saying you're a Klan member and a Christian denomination? Why haven't they done it? Because organizations can be exceptions to the rule. So they allow, as long as they pledge their constitution, and you know, believe it or not, the KK have their own constitution. They have their own law. They have a holy book called the Quran that they read. They have their own president. They have their own chiefs, their own imperial grand wizards, and own imperial. They have a whole government set up, and they have become immune. And the only time that the system can bother them is when they violate the laws of the system. As long as they stay within the rules of the system, they cannot touch them. And this is why they have been able to exist. And the same thing applies to the nation of Islam. Elijah Muhammad was a wise man. He knew how to work with the rules and regulations. When we go to present to them, if you have a trial before you, and you want to pull out a third article judge, what you're going to see come in is a judge in cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. Sound familiar? Did y'all notice on television? In both of the bombings of Oklahoma, both of the judges that they selected, they ignored all the Oklahoma magistrates and they brought in a cowboy. Did you notice that? He had to come across the country out of Texas because Texas is a separate and has never, ever been registered as a state. And that's the bamboos who took that oath against the United States of Texas about 6 months ago, which trying to point out, they crushed it so quick. Because they were pointing out that Texas never was a part of the United States. And the judges they pull in, the third article judges, come as cowboys out of Texas, another state. You know why? Because they're dealing with you as if you are a foreigner. Now we have two approaches here. One is, we are indigenous people of this land. We predate everybody else. And then we have descendants as Moors that came over here on their own. And then we have descendants who were kidnapped and brought over here as slaves from Africa. And we have to make up our minds which one of those paths for the legal system are we going to stay on. Are we going to continue to say that I'm an African and therefore practice Islam and Christianity and Judaism and fall under religious law? Did you notice that the Sheikh Abdul Rahman from Egypt is not an American citizen, but he's tried in America, and he's having a religious war called jihad? How was a religious man tried in America in a non-religious, if the state is separate from religion, how can you try a foreign religious clergy in a state system? Again, I repeat, because the courts are a religious system. There's in-state and out-of-state. According to in-state law of the United States, you are innocent until proven guilty. Is that the law here? So how can come in your establishment, seize your files, tape up your doors, put restricted area on before the trial, before a selection of the jury of your peers, before they decide whether it's going to become a grand jury case or a state or city case? How is it possible for them to come in and lock up your place and violate the law? It says in the United States, you are innocent until proven guilty. How can they do that? The Federal Reserve is not a part of the United States. 90% of your churches, take one, the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is a diocese out of the Vatican. The Vatican is a city inside Italy that has its own laws. It's a separate city. It's immune. You with me? They have immunity like that constitution you have in your hand. The Pope has set up immunity. So inside Italy, if you know, the Vatican is a separate country with its own money, with its own passports, and with its own laws. And then it charters out to other countries. So the mafia had sanctuary in the Catholic Church. And this is why you say, how are they able to get away? How are we going to get away with all that stuff? Well, they showed you in the Godfather movie that all the meetings were held in the Vatican with the cardinals and the monsignors. They had broken. They broke away totally from the American system. And they were the Roman Catholic Church. Is this Rome we live in? No. You understand what I mean? You with me? The Jew. The Jew did the exact same thing. Where did he make his capital? Israel. How did he make his capital? He came here to the United States and petitioned and got a charter way back in 1945, 44 actually. You follow that? And set up the state of Israel. Not the country of Israel. Not the town of Israel, but the state of Israel. The state of existence has nothing to do with the root or indigenous people. You can set a state of existence anywhere. You can come into my house and status quo habit, live in a room and consider it yours. That's the state of living you're in. That's not a reality. I'm telling you, the words that come out their mouth is the trickery, the trap, the way they select the terminology, the nomenclature they say, that they feed you, that is the game. And when you start deciphering that, you got them whipped. When they can't run, when they start talking, you hear them words, and your illiteracy will help you. Because literate people have a hard time breaking away from his definitions. Need I say that again? Literate people have a hard time breaking away from his definitions. They can't hear it. So they'll take a situation and just alter the meaning of it according to what point they're trying to make. For instance, this is a good season for me to stop and say to y'all, in between everything, Merry Christmas. Why you gonna laugh? I came from my heart and said Merry Christmas. Did I miss you? Huh? Let's say it one more time. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much. Now, when we hear that statement, Merry Christmas, it has been coded with a lot of very sensitive and beautiful, Christmas carols and beers and red suits and gifts and ham and turkey and relatives coming over to get drunk and putting together toys wrong but in all, it's a merry thing. It's a good spiritual thing, they say. But when you say Merry Christmas and remove the one of the R's out of Merry, remove the mess out of Christmas, you got Mary and Christ. And they make it all right for Jews to sell people things in the name of Mary and Christ. This tells you that they have taken words, shifted them around, altered them. For instance, herein lies the truth. Listen to it one more time. You gotta hear it. Herein lies the truth. Did you catch it? And then you're using that every day. As long as we identify with stuff like this, you will never be able to demand a third article judge. Because you have to step out of the religious, now get the whole sentence, you got to step out of the religious state of things and tell them, I do not believe anything you have to say about me. A group of you guys got over here and said, let's talk about history. Here? Let's talk about history. Never have they ever said, let's talk about oustering. It was history. And I said, mystery? Because that's what oustering was to us, a mystery. We're the only ones that don't even know oustering. He talks talking about us, history. We say history. But he switched the language. No, he says, mystery. Your story is my story. And we never ask the question, how, why, and when. I grabbed this book here, and I opened it to Genesis chapter 1, and I got to the name Adam. Most of you would have an idea of who I'm talking about. Right? If you was a Muslim, you would understand Adam. If you was a Jew or Hebrew or Israelite, Hebrew or the like, you would understand Adam. And if you was a Hindu, you would have heard of Adam. Or Buddhist, you would have heard of Adam. And this is very common. But the people who should have heard of Adam haven't heard of Adam. The Muslim, the Christian, and the Jew, the Rastafarian, and etc. Israelite, when you say to them, tell me something about Adam, they say, well, in Genesis, all beloved, benevolent God said, I'm going to create Adam. And you say, can you all do with it? You say, okay. Where? Say, huh? Where did he create Adam? Where? Exactly where? Well, somewhere out in the east, in the Holy City area. Where? In the garden. Where was the garden? Huh? Where? The garden. Here. Garden of Eden. I'm looking right out here. Garden of Eden. Where was it? Exactly. Where? Imam, Rabbi, Kohen, Clown. You know where exactly is this garden of Eden or in Eden that we were created? Exactly where? And by the way, when? While you're on where, would you please tell us when it took place? Well, around. What is around? I tell you, you know the game of around is? They draw clocks in a circle and they put hands and numbers and give you the impression that time is going around when it's not. Think about it. When you look at your watch, you're looking at it and you're watching it go around. And you become so accustomed to watching your hands go around that you have now associated time with a circle. And that's why whenever you ask them for a fact, they say, well, around 2,000 years ago. And you go, oh, okay, that's relates. I see that every day. But if you say, no, I don't want an around figure. I want to know exactly where and exactly when Adam of the Bible. This book got from these 3 or 4 pages all the way to this thick without telling me. It's like going somewhere to hear something, and the guy says in the beginning of it, the little red bird. He's like, all right, he says, trees and gardens. Rivers and streams, butterflies and ants, and you be back in stuff in the back of your mind, you going, the little red bird. And he says, camels and goats, and wars and love, and hate and fire, and earthquakes and landslides, and you're going, the little red bird. You know what happens? After a while, somewhere in this book, they'll touch on something that interests you. You follow that? And you will forget the question about the little red bird. You see, we should have in church, or the masjid, or the synagogue, or Kanisa, whatever you call it, before we got any further in the Quran, before we got any further in the Bible, we should have stood right there when it came in and said, Adam, we said, stop. Adam, there you go. Adam. Well, talk to us about Adam. Because Adam had him. That's how we got here. Start your Bible class on Adam's story. Why am I saying that? Because the condition of mind that makes it impossible for you to go right to a court today in a trial and say, give me a $30 for judge. They go, make a shit. You ain't even answer no questions. All of a sudden now, but you're answering trouble, you want to answer. And they'll just ignore you. But they want to know why you so articulate now. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, we've been telling you niggas for years, y'all ain't said nothing. Now all of a sudden y'all read one little book by some little nasty ass nigga in Georgia, and all of a sudden y'all got all these, intricate questions. And they'll just dog you. And it will be made to look like it's the right thing to do. Because there'll be niggas sitting around them going, that's right, Mr. Master. You know what I'm saying? That's right, son. That's right, that nigga crazy. Niggas will be saying it. Have you seen that? Until we, like the Klan, can unanimously say, we do not accept this until you straighten out the Adam story. I'm not going down to Jesus with you. You ain't getting me down that far until you get past the Adam story. You with me? I want to know Adam. Who married Adam and Eve? And if they wasn't married, were they living in sin? They got such a well-planned system that if you start using your brain like that, they will call you the devil. Look at that boy. That boy does. Well, blaspheming out of his mouth needs to be slapped. And they'll start to convince people to come out against you to hurt you. Because the reverend is off balance when you start asking questions that his master didn't give him answers to. If you say, I don't have anything against the love of Jesus. I just want to know all of the things that made up the story that led up to me wanting to love Jesus. And if Jesus is like Adam and Adam is like Jesus according to your Bible, tell me about Adam. Let me love Adam first. Let me love Adam and Eve as much as I love Jesus and Mary. And the reason why they can't do that is because they didn't have their Lord in place during Adam's time. They didn't have their system of a mental entrapment in place. See, that for the black folks to grab a Bible quick, whether they got on a dashiki, you know what I'm saying? They get a Kwanzaa, let's turn to Psalms. Muslims be in the mosque saying, well, in St. John's it says. And they're so spellbound by this book here. And when you say to one of them, well, and I've done it many times. Well, this book says, y'all see what it says right there? What's it say? By what? The Hebrew, Greek, key. I said, well, do you know Hebrew? They go, well, I dabbled a little. I didn't ask you about no round. I asked you, do you know Hebrew? No. Do you know Greek? No. So how do I know you know what you're saying with my soul? What do you become? Devil. A blasphemer. I came down to Georgia with some questions that Nubians should want to ask people, and I'm a bad man. I went before the Nation of Islam with some questions because the books were there and the lessons were there. I said, okay. Alright, there's a 1 to 20, sounds nice. You know what? Yahoo grabbed the devil. I mean, if it's true, I love it. If it's true, I love it. If it's true, I love it. If it is true, I love it. But if it is not true, it's got to go.